Welcome everyone to my Stoney through Medal of Honor Pacific Assault on the PC. We're taking a look at this. I've captured the gameplay off of my brand new Alienware 15 laptop. This is the entry-level model, so it's only got an i5 processor and the lower level NVIDIA video card, but it really doesn't matter because this game is from 2004 and it looks fan-fucking-tastic on this laptop, which is a beast for my needs because I want to play old games like this because this is one of the games I was dying to play when it came out, but my rig could not run it. This was a really demanding game for its time, and that's why it still looks so good today. Before I go a little bit further though, let me take a bong rip here. So this was a very intense game graphically at the time, and that is why right now this game still looks fantastic. This game came out in 2004, yet it easily looks like Xbox 360 game from the early era at the very least. And that is just because of the insanely good graphics that the PC at the time were capable of. And if you didn't have a powerful rig at the time, you weren't seeing visuals like this, but it's really impressive to be looking at them in 2016 and playing a game 12 years old that still looks this damn good. And I was actually able to get this game for free from EA's Origin store. This is one of their on-the-house games. It's every month they release a free game, and this is the game that's free for this month. And you know, that's awesome because, as I said, when this game came out, I really wanted to play it, and now that I finally have, I'm really impressed by it. This is a very, very fun game. Not only is it a very fun game, but it's probably one of the best made shooters that I've played in a really long time. You know, few shooters feel this well designed anymore. A lot of games today are just so linear that it feels like to me they lack any kind of finesse when it comes to the overall pacing of the game. You know, this game starts off with this huge impressive set piece on Pearl Harbor, and you start off on the ground during the attack, and it's intense. You're running from cover to cover as Zeros are coming in, blowing shit up everywhere, and you can actually shoot down some of these Zeros with your Tommy gun, which is pretty badass, and you know, it's a very intense opening to the game. But then the game sort of brings things down slower, and from that point on you're taking an island in the game, and it starts off with some rather smaller engagements. You know, you're clearing small sections of jungle, but then the game again ramps up the action, and you go to these rather large set pieces where you're clearing an airport, or where you're trying to hold a line in a forest at night, which is what you're about to see right here. And these scenes are very reminiscent of anything you'd see in a great film, but there are also scenes that you've seen in other games, yet I've not seen them done this well. And the reason why I'm really digging the way Pacific Assault was designed is that it walks the line between having these really impressive linear set pieces, and truth be told, you can only get this kind of excitement and this kind of action in a game that is set up like this, because you have to have precisely crafted sequences so that you can have this kind of cinematic action. And that's why I was really a big fan of The Order 1886, because it was a game that was all about impeccably designed pacing and action sequences. And, you know, that's what this game also does, and it does it very well. But there's a lot more game to Pacific Assault than there was to The Order 1886. I really like that, unlike most modern shooters, and especially after Call of Duty was introduced, this game doesn't focus on driving you from set piece to set piece.
We will hold the line or die trying.
Instead, this game really spaces things out. You'll go from some rather small encounters, walking through very thick, swampy jungle, to these huge firefights and, you know, this airfield where all these people are trying to take off and you're trying to cover them while you're also trying to, you know, hold off the Japanese and take out the Zeros. And we see this in a lot of games, but the interactivity that you see in Pacific Assault is really unmatched just because of the extreme quality of the production values. I mean, I'm not kidding. You know, when I'm looking at this game, to me, it reminds me of things that I saw in Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, and even Call of Duty World at War. And on top of that, the game actually looks just as good as Call of Duty 2 and even Call of Duty 3, both of which came out a couple of years after this game. You know, I'll admit I'm a bit overhyped about this just because I was thinking about this game today and I was going, you know, I really want to get this, and I've been playing some other games from the past, you know, some nostalgic games, like I re-downloaded Gun and Ghostbusters for the PC, and I was having a blast playing those games because they were some of my favorites from the Xbox 360, and why I got this laptop was so I could play some of these older games and, you know, really enjoy those great games that are sadly forgotten because they're not available on current consoles. Excuse me. And then I also realized that there were several games that I didn't get to play because they were PC exclusive games, and some of them were just simply too graphically intensive for my computer to run them. So I was thinking today, I really wanted to play Pacific Assault because, you know, I can't believe this wasn't one of the first games that I got for this, because I had been wanting to play it for so long, and I was really excited to play it when it came out. So when I typed in Medal of Honor Pacific Assault download today, and I looked on Origin and it said On the House Game of the Month, I was like, holy shit, this is so awesome. Like, the one game I'm really looking for, the one game I really want to play. And not only do I find that it runs on Windows 10, it'll look good on my computer, but it's free. So of course I'm really hyped about the game. But I'm even more hyped because the game has stood the test of time, because the people who are making this game were really ahead of the curve, and that's why a lot of the gameplay mechanics that you're seeing are still in most modern shooters today, and why it still feels, you know, like a modern shooter. You have your iron sights, and you have a lot of the mechanics that feel very cliched almost at this point. But while the World War II setting was cliched and overused in 2004, sadly in 2016, the gaming genres are kind of stagnant. That we have a lot of science fiction, and then we have a lot of sports titles, and then we have some superhero stuff, and that's basically it. You know, I've been noticing that sadly the gaming genre has been a little stagnant with creativity, and that's why I'm always thrilled to see something new, something original, something that's trying to do something that we don't see too often. And that's why I'm really enjoying revisiting a lot of these older games, and especially games like this that I really didn't get a chance to fully enjoy back in the day. And so now, playing this on this badass laptop that was something that I always wanted, especially, it's kind of cool for me because in 2004 when this came out, I was seeing all the ads for Alienware on G4, and I'm like, I want an Alienware so badly. They looked so cool, they were so powerful, and I really wanted a great gaming rig. And now I finally have one, and I'm just relishing in all the great gaming experiences that I'm getting to have. And what's really cool is it's really easy to capture gameplay footage. And sadly, Windows 10 doesn't allow Sony Vegas, so I can't use good editing software and actually put together some really slick videos for you guys like I used to be able to do. But I was able to get Windows Movie Maker, get it running on Windows 10, and be able to put together something because I really wanted to show you guys this game, especially, you know, it's 420. You know, I want to celebrate 420 because, holla, always a good excuse to get extra high, and it's just a great game to play. So you guys, before the end of April, should go to EA's Origin, look up their free game, download the Origin app, make an account if you don't have one already, go to the free game, and then you can download this. It takes less than 10 minutes to download. Set the settings to max on everything, max resolution. If you have a modern gaming rig, it'll run it beautifully. And you'll be in for a really great first-person shooter. If you love these kind of campaign, narrative-driven war games, this is one of the absolute best. And it's really a shame that it's so underrated, because when you talk about Medal of Honor games, a lot of people talk about Allied Assault. Some people even bring up Medal of Honor Heroes 2 on the Wii as one of the better Wii shooters. Airborne was quite good, but people don't really talk about Pacific Assault, and I think that's a shame because it's filled to the brim with fantastic set pieces, fantastic design. I mean, everything about this game is just well made. You didn't see a lot of the tactical leaning mechanics and the crouch and the prone. The way that if you're running and you hit the prone button, you'll actually dive going into prone. How you can pick up your squad mates and you can actually give your squad some basic orders that they'll follow decently. They give you pretty good cover and their AI is decent enough. What I really liked about this game that was kind of different is, unlike an auto health mechanic, this game gives you a medic who's with you, and if you press the H button, he'll come over and heal you, and you can do that between 4 or 5 times, rather, depending on your difficulty setting. And I really like this because it gave it a sense of realism, but if one of your teammates gets down and he goes over to revive them, I've noticed that he's like throwing up when he's reviving them. And I thought that was a really cool touch. So it just goes to show you that while there are a lot of World War II shooters that were coming out at this time period in 2004 when this game was released, and a lot of those were these shameless, just cheap cash grabs because it was a popular genre at the time. And sadly, you know, it got played out because they made too many of them. But this one was not one of those poorly made Medal of Honor games. This wasn't one of the laughable entries in the series. This was one that, had it been given a console release, this would probably be better remembered than Allied Assault. It is just that good. The enemy AI is fantastic. I love everything about this game because the effects of the graphics are good enough that it gives it a great atmospheric cinematic quality that you really didn't see when this game came out. Call of Duty did it fairly well, especially the first game. But this was just a beautiful game at the time, and you know, for a retro game 12 years old, it's still beautiful to this day. And the gameplay holds up better than most. You know, maybe it's just because I'm such a huge fan of World War II shooters. I love the genre. But this was a great game, and I really enjoyed playing it. I think that the weapon selection was far more diverse than you see in a lot of the other shooters of its kind. And I liked that the story was well thought out. It was well written. You know, everything about this game was just polished. The gameplay was polished. It had a decent story. It had good voice acting. It had great sound design. It was an intense, fun experience that I'm so glad I was able to play, and you should totally get it while it's free. I can't recommend this game enough. And even if it's not free, it's totally worth getting. Thanks for watching. Have a blast, guys. And don't forget to head over to megamediaoverload.blogspot.com for more.